What I love most about my father is his wisdom and humility. How classy he is when dealing with others, even difficult people. His compassion and generosity.
What did I love most about my father? He's not with us, but what I loved most about him was his wicked sense of humor. He used to love scaring my children because he had false teeth that he used to pop out of his mouth at random and they would run away.
He is such a sweetheart. He may seem like a burly guy waiting to fight someone, but inside it's all mushy. And every time he calls me baby, I say, don't say that. It's so embarrassing.
And one thing I love most about my dad is a very kind, patient, and generous man.
He's mild-natured, patient, and yet supportive.
I think the short answer is his love for life.
He was the one who first taught us about being good people, about God, and the value of family.
He was very patient and quiet, very calm.
Very caring person, especially towards his family.
What I love most about my father is his sense of adventure.
His thirst for knowledge and his unique ability to adapt. And I think that's a trait I dare say I've inherited.
When I was young, I used to be terrified of him. I always ran to my mom for backup. But as we grow older, started realizing how much of a friend he was.
This is my father, Dr. James Fryer. He passed away just over 6 years ago, and therefore Father's Day since have been not the easiest for me. He was very funny, very kind, intelligent, smart as a whip, hardworking. He had a great deal of integrity. He was very generous and loyal and protective of his loved ones.
He's the kind of guy who will never spend money on himself. He'll never buy a baju. He'll make sure that he's got enough money to provide for his kids, buy their favorite things, get them their favorite foods. So that's the kind of person that he is. He goes out of his way to make others happy. His selflessness.
He taught me to believe in the things that matter the most, which is love and friendship and believing in myself.
It's been 8 years since my dad left us, and I miss him every day. I think about him every day. For one reason, he used to call me every day, before or after lunch, just to check if I had lunch and how I was doing.
I appreciate that he has taught me how to look at things in different ways so that we don't end up getting emotionally hurt or acting in a rashful manner.
He is always learning, always growing. He has that constant desire to be better.
He also lives a life of service and just wants to help and heal people spiritually, from which he believes most problems stem.
And one thing I appreciate most about my dad is he's always put my needs first before his own.
As kids, we always have 10,500 questions a day. My dad would always take the time to answer them. He'd answer them in a funny way. And then, when things were quiet and I was a little bit more on the quiet side, he'd go, when you ask me that, this is what it is about. And he'd explain it at length.
And I really appreciated how, in a way, he taught us that reading was important and there was a lot of joy in doing it.
What I appreciate about this man is that because of him, I believe I got my talent for writing.
I appreciate the fact that he dedicated his entire adulthood to making sure we were doing well, doing okay. We never lacked for anything, even though we were in a single income family. I have to say, he really worked hard.
Worked very hard to get us what we need, if not what we want. Most of the time what we need, like my studies and my violin classes.
We shared a great deal of love and adoration for books and literature, and then we spent many happy hours reading together and talking books.
What I appreciate about him the most is his tremendous support in everything that I or my brother want to do.
He helped expose us to a lot of stuff that a lot of other people don't have. I appreciate that he never gives up when most wouldn't even bother. No matter how bad it is, he's always there. His judgment is impartial, even though at the time I didn't think it's fair. He taught me his values and imparted his views. So equipped me with the tools for life that I need to use. So I appreciate that very much.
I appreciate my father because he has stood by me and been a wonderful role model, made me aspire to always be a better person, to play a meaningful role in society.
What is your favorite memory with your father? Buy me dinner and I'll tell you, but it involves a hula skirt, makeup, and a black tie dinner.
My favorite memory of him, actually not one favorite memory. Every time he performs on stage, I'm like a fan. I'm so proud to call him my father and to be his daughter.
And one of my fondest memory of my dad is when I was 5 years old, he bought me a beautiful orange bicycle. And he used to come back after work every single day and teach me how to ride the bicycle.
His love for music and his love for entertainment. And he always used to have a well-stocked case of his favorite discs. And that's exactly what I have right now.
We were not from a rich background, but my dad would go out of his way to buy or invest in equipment or stuff that he thought would make me happy, or at least to support my cause back then during my younger days.
When I was younger, he used to take me to go on the bus. Right? I love to sit on buses. So we'll take the 33 bus from PJ all the way to KL, where we'll go to places like Kota Raya, Pertama Complex. We'll go out, jalan-jalan at the mall, go makan satay, drink some mutton soup, And we used to go to Semua House, where my dad likes to play snooker, and I'll go and watch him play snooker.
What's my favorite memory of my father? It was the funny stories he told my children. He would make up these awful ditties and he would teach them horrible little ditties and they would come and repeat them to me, and the language was very colorful.
What we used to do is just sit there at the park and bench and then watch people going by. So we learn to observe people, understand people, sometimes without saying anything, and sometimes at the end we will just laugh about somebody or something that they did.
Whenever he came back home from work, because he used to use a motorbike, my sister and I would be like all ready, waiting for him to come back. The moment he reached home, we wouldn't allow him to come into the house. We would climb onto the bike and he had to just take us around on the road, our housing area. Oh gosh, that was funny.
My fondest and most powerful memory is, it has to be the first time my dad watched my band perform. I think that was about 18 years ago. And after that performance, he came up to me and said, after all these years, I never knew you could sing. I'm sorry I had to be away most of your years, but I'm really proud of you.
Hey Dad, you've been my storyteller, my problem solver, my role model. You've been tough enough to tell me when to pick myself up and carry on, but gentle enough to know when to leave me alone, because I've got to find my own way.
Hey badminton, the only sport that he knows how to play. And remote control car, yeah.
For me, it's kind of hard to choose, but the one that comes to mind was when he got me my violin. It was expensive and it was a tough decision. It took a long time to decide.
When I was 9, my sister was born, so my mom was away at my grandmother's. So was my brother, he was small. I stayed with my dad for a month, just the two of us. He was an estate manager, so he used to go to work early in the morning. He made sure I got on the school bus, and he was there when I got home. And this was a man who never cooked in his life. The first week of just both of us being together, he learned how to cook, and he cooked nearly every day for me.
A very significant part of the relationship was the talks that we had with each other. And these talks began when I was very little, I was 4 or 5. We used to discuss topics and subjects as diverse as history, arts, literature, politics, general affairs, states of conflict. We talked all the time about things that were going on in the world, that were the headlines in newspapers. And he always listened and was very respectful. And even though sometimes it became very heated, we came away both richer for the discussion. And I think that was really the making of who I am, a huge part of who I am today, because he took me seriously and he treated me as an equal even then.
Most favorite memory of my dad was once when someone did something to me. My dad stood up for me in a way that I have since learned to stand up for other people because of. So my father led by example, and I try my best to do the same.
My favorite, not a single memory, but memories of my father are of him getting on his hands and knees and playing with his grandchildren well into his 80s, and that is just such a great memory to have.
Daddy's taking us to the zoo tomorrow, zoo tomorrow, zoo tomorrow. Daddy's taking us to the zoo tomorrow. We're going to stay all day. Hi everyone, I'm Natalie Makulin, and I'd like to wish all the daddies out there a happy Father's Day. And in Kadazan, we say it this way: Kotobian Tadaw Tapa.
Daddy, I love you with all my heart. I appreciate you. You are my rock. You are my guide. You are my guardian angel. I love you. Happy Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day, Daddy. We love you always. Stay healthy and happy. Cheers.
This is the first Father's Day that he's not around. As a family, we all love him. We miss him very much, and we actually think about him every single day. I just want to say that being a father myself, if I was half the dad that you are, Papa, I think I would have done a very good job. And if I can raise Kai as well as you raise me, again, I think I would have done a very good job. So to you, Pap, again, we all miss you. We all love you. Rest in peace.
Dad, I wish you many long years ahead, laughter, happiness, a life of service, and most importantly, the greatest health. I love you and I appreciate you.
He never looked for praises. He's never been one to boast. He just goes on quietly, working for those he loves the most. His dreams are seldom spoken. His wants are very few. And most of the time, his worries will go unspoken too. He's there, a firm foundation through all of our storms of life. A voice of reason in times good and bad. May God continue blessing the man I call Dad. Happy Father's Day, Daddy. Love you.
Happy Father's Day.
I love you lots, Dad.
What can I say? Happy Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day, Papa. Know that I always appreciate and love you, and keep your teachings close to my heart. I hope I will always make you proud.
I'd like to wish Happy Father's Day to all dads and to my dad.
Happy Father's Day, now and forever.
And happy Father's Day to all fathers around the world. And I love you, Daddy.
Happy Father's Day, everyone. And to my dad.
Well, I want to say, Papa, we love you. We love you so much. Thank you for being my dad. And happy Father's Day.
Fathers for the godfathers, for the uncles, for the stepfathers, for the adoptive fathers, for all the father figures in our lives. I wish you the best, the sweetest day, but more importantly, I wish you love. For the days that you don't believe in yourself, know that there is someone out there who believes in you.